Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Convergence College Network's ePortfolio webinar. Mark is out today, so I, Christina Titus, will be the host. And today we have Louise Kowalski with us. She's the IT Department Chair at Erie Community College and one of our newest CCN members. And she's going to do our presentation on ePortfolios. So Louise, would you like to take it away?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great day. We had our first snowfall, but we're still surviving here in Buffalo, New York. I want to give you one promise that at the end of this presentation, when you get the assignments, you're going to see that this is very, very easy. There's very little for you to do because I don't want to add anything extra to what you're already doing in your classrooms. And I want you to know that you're doing a really great job. A little background on this topic. I've been doing this with my students for about 8 years now, and it's been very, very successful. And the minute they turn on their LinkedIn profile, they get recruiters contacting them for jobs. So I hope you'll have the same success with your students. And I would like you to know that you feel free to email me and contact me at any time, okay? Okay, so let's get going. Okay, some of the objectives for today is we're going to talk about the importance of ePortfolios, LinkedIn, social media usage for networking, and specifically LinkedIn, not Facebook. And we're going to talk about personal branding if we have some time. I have some assignments there for you. I don't know if we'll have time to actually get into discussing personal branding that much, but I do have a nice assignment that you can give to your students. I'm going to give you the step-by-step instructions on how to develop, how the students can develop an ePortfolio using Google Drive and Google Sites. I also have some additional resources on how to develop an ePortfolio using WordPress and some other tools. But Google Sites is really pretty easy, and it interfaces with Google Drive really well. So I thought I would introduce that first, and then maybe after you do this a few semesters, you might want to move into WordPress. But Google Sites is very easy for the students as well as the instructors. And we're going to talk about creating a LinkedIn profile and what's very important about how your LinkedIn profile should look so that you attract the right employers. And we're also going to talk about how to implement ePortfolios into your current curriculum. Any questions so far? Okay, good. We'll move on. Okay, so why do we use Google? Naturally, it's free. It's not just a search engine. It has, lots of apps, and it has Google Drive, and it gives us lots of storage, and it's very easy to use, and students are very familiar with it. So let's talk about what an ePortfolio is, really. It's a digital collection of projects, coursework, extracurricular activities, volunteer experience, awards, references, letters of recommendation, and more. I have found that students that put volunteer experience and extracurricular activities in their ePortfolio seem to have a better opportunity for employers to contact them or to increase conversation during interviews and that. We talk about Eagle Scouts. Just being an Eagle Scout proves that you have been able to accomplish a great task, and meet an objective. So all of these things are very important to put in an ePortfolio. Why do we do it? They are available anytime and anywhere. You'll see that you can share, students and yourself can share your ePortfolio with anyone that you like. I will be sharing some handouts with you on Google Drive, so you'll see how easy it is to share. It's easily updated. It's a living collection of your information. I want to stress that. We shouldn't just put things out there and just leaves them out there, because in technology everything changes, and with us too things change. We change, so we want to keep it up to date. And we want to provide examples of application of knowledge. Many of my students take Lynda courses, L-Y-N-D-A. Is anybody familiar with that? Anyone? Okay, well, it's available. It's a LinkedIn product, and they're training courses. And when the student completes the course, they actually get a certificate of completion, which they can actually add to their LinkedIn profile. And that supplements the learning that they're doing at your college. And it's nice to see those certificates. Employers like to see that they've completed it. They like to see certificates of completion. Again, now this is something that's really interesting. I don't know how many of you have accrediting bodies, but when I was our Middle States accreditation chair for the school, I was the chair for 6 years, and when the accrediting evaluators would come in and ask me how I can prove that the students are learning what I'm saying they're learning, I could just show them the e-portfolios. And I was able to use that as an assessment and link them to the course outcomes in the course. So if for any other reason, this is a great reason to do it, because you have at your fingertips you have the product to show that you've met those course outcomes. So some best practices for e-portfolios. Try to make their development an institution or program-wide initiative. Many employers want to know that students know how to communicate properly, that they can write well. There's many things that they do that, in addition to their technical skills, that's important: people skills, communication skills. Just recently, our school has decided to go with e-portfolios in all of the different departments. So we will be implementing this as an institution-wide initiative. It's a little slow to go, but we're looking forward to it. We have 14,000 students, so it will be a little bit of a challenge, but I'm really looking forward to it. So be sure the the other thing is students need to know the benefits of an e-portfolio. And I'll talk about how you can help them with that. And it's something that they can do by themselves, too. Set clear expectations for e-portfolios. Make sure that students know what they should be putting in their e-portfolio. And what I'd like to suggest is that you just, in the beginning, have them use it as a repository, their Google Drive. Just use it as a repository for their projects and assignments. That's the best way that I have found to start out e-portfolios with the students. Begin the development in the student's first semester. Now, this is an area that I really don't like to make them gradable, but it seems that if I don't make it gradable, the students don't actually create it or maintain it. So when I say that I make them gradable, what students have to do is at the end of the course, in each course that they take, they have to show the instructor that they have put all of the projects or assignments in their Google Drive. That's what they have to show them, that they are all located there. And that's why I said it's going to be like a repository. So the teacher just simply looks at it, says, that's great, checks it off and moves on. So there's not any grading to look at it. We have to put the onus on the students because this is something they need to maintain for their entire career. Any questions so far?
Yes, I have one. What was the name of the LinkedIn training site that you mentioned?
It's Lynda. It's Lynda. And there are many, many videos, and the students could learn just about anything. If you were to purchase it for yourself, a single license is $50 per person. but our school purchased a college-wide license, and I can get the information for you if you would like on how we did that. And we're actually going to use that as our method of training, faculty and staff, and I use it to supplement some of the coursework in my classes, especially maybe the networking classes where there's some new things they need to learn. There's also actually prep exams out there for industry certification, which our students have found extremely valuable. And it's Lynda, L-Y-N-D-A, and I can show you that if we have time later. Okay?
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I suggest peer reviews with the e-portfolios. I have the students look at each other's and maybe make suggestions. And if they don't understand it, then naturally the employer's not going to understand it. So I have the students work on it together. It not only builds community in the community college, but it helps them to learn from each other. And I think that's a very good experience for them. Some more best practices: make sure it contains relevant career information. I guess I don't need to say much more about that. Keep it simple. Definitely, we're going to keep it simple. We don't want people to have to hunt for things in the e-portfolio. We want employers to be able to go in and just look for what they want to see and not have to search around. We're going to make it easy to find the information, and we want to be consistent with the layout and definitely showcase their best work. And what I do with my students is I let them find examples of e-portfolios that they like. Because every student, might want to do something a little bit different, and that's fine because it is their e-portfolio. So they find examples that they like, and they will, use some of the design work from the different examples that they've seen, and they'll implement it. And some go all the way, with these e-portfolios, and they're just magical. And some have very basic ones. But either way, they have a portfolio, and they can show the employer the work. That's the objective. Here's my portfolio, and here's what I can do. Okay, so now we have this e-portfolio, okay, and that's great, and it's just sitting, and nobody knows that it exists, okay, and nobody knows that your student exists either. So that is why we incorporate LinkedIn. It's free. It provides an area for your online resume and portfolio if you'd like. It's used by most, if not all, business professionals, and it's a great opportunity to network and connect with employers and colleagues. It's the first site most employers will search for new employees, and I believe it did beat out Indeed, but don't hold me to that as far as posting jobs. And we can talk about the job search function in LinkedIn if we have time later, or I can send out some information about that at a later date. It's a great place to highlight your skills. And what employers will do is they will actually search for people with specific skills. So the more skills you highlight, the more opportunity you have for employers to find you. You have the ability to add presentations, awards, recommendations, and other items that display strengths to potential employers. My students always will ask for a recommendation. I have a pretty standard one, and then there's some that I modify a little bit more. The students like to put their presentations out there. I do not suggest that they add a link to their e-portfolio on their LinkedIn site, because then it makes it available to everyone. I suggest that if an employer contacts them and they want to meet with them, the student should then say, would you like to review my e-portfolio? I do state that in here in the assignment, but I want to stress that here because then you're going to open up their e-portfolio to everyone that's on LinkedIn, and we don't want to do that because it is the student's work. Any questions? I have a question. How many people are on LinkedIn right now? Well, if you are, please connect with me, okay? Thank you. Okay, so a little bit more about LinkedIn. As I said before, you can search LinkedIn for various jobs, and you can actually notify employers you are searching for employment. You can use keywords to help employers find you. One of the assignments that I will give to you, what I have students do is I have them look up job postings and find keywords in each of the posting for the job that they want. And then they use those keywords in their LinkedIn profile, because that is exactly what the employer is looking for. They're looking for someone that has the skills that match those keywords. And that's definitely post relevant information, get yourself noticed. If there's something you're working on, if you found an article you like, share it. When students first get on LinkedIn, I tell them to wait and watch, observe, see what's working well, see what isn't, and be careful what you post. It is a business social media site. So some best practices. I talk about branding yourself, and I do, and as I said, I do have a assignment out there where we won't cover that a lot during this WebEx. We're going to focus on LinkedIn and e-portfolios right now. But I do have a really nice personal branding assignment out there. And I think it's very important for students to brand themselves so that they can distinguish themselves from others. And keep it professional at all times. Keep it professional. Keep it current. Make sure it is current. Use the keywords, as I had said before. Log in daily, post, and stay connected. So it needs to be, you need to be on there at least once a week. I get on there probably twice a week, and I find I have, 5 notifications and messages, and I feel terrible that I missed them, but it's a great way to stay connected. It's a great way to look for built members. It's a great way to, find out what other colleagues are doing, what they suggest, to get information on various topics. It's just a wonderful, wonderful tool. More best practice. If you highlight other skills, they will usually reciprocate. So, for example, if I highlight teaching skills for one of my connections, they will usually come and highlight some skills for me. And you'll see that the number grows. 47 people highlighted this skill for Louise. And then people say, oh, well, she must be really good at it if 47 people think she's good at it. So it's really important to do that. Have others write recommendations. I suggest students, when they first come in their first semester, I actually ask them to ask their high school teachers for recommendations. And, this really should start in the high schools. I'd like to see it happen that way, but maybe for right now, we'll just start in the community colleges. I also tell students to select their connections wisely. There's scammers out on LinkedIn just as they are on any other social media site. So if you don't know the person, I would say don't connect with them. Always view the profile. I put that in the assignment. But, be wary. Don't just go out there and connect with everybody to make sure you have the most connections. Having the most connections is not important. Having the best connections is important. And always keep your connections informed of any career-related events and happenings. I'll share an interesting story about one of our adjunct faculty. He passed his CISSP, and he put a little post out on LinkedIn, and he said, yay, I just passed my CISSP. And the first thing that came to mind was, I wonder how long it will be before he posts that he has a new job. And sure enough, it was like 3 weeks later. So he put that out there, and I'm sure other employers were out there saying, hey, come work for us. We need this guy with CISSP certification. And that's exactly what happened. So as students get certifications, learn new skills, if they keep their LinkedIn profile up to date, it opens up more job opportunities for them. Any questions so far on LinkedIn? None? Is everybody out there?
None yet. They're taking it all in.
Oh, good. Oh, good. I have sponges. I love sponges. Okay. I went and I looked up some statistics for us, and here's a link. You have access to this presentation, so feel free to look it over at your leisure, share it with your colleagues. Some statistics from September of 2008. Right now, LinkedIn has over 500 million members. 260 million users are logging in each month. 40% of monthly active users use LinkedIn daily. It's the most used social media platform amongst Fortune 500 companies. That was nice to find out. I did not know this, but Microsoft purchased LinkedIn for $26.2 billion last year. Did anyone? I found that. I don't know how I missed it, but they did it. A little more. Of the 2 billion millennials globally, 87 million of them are on LinkedIn. One of the things that I see our millennials doing right now are vlogs, video vlogs. So they will, do a video of them showing how they can, repair a computer or whatever they're doing. Their cybersecurity skills, something they've done. They build their PCs. And so students will do that. There's some very good ones out there, and then there's some students that think it's okay to do a video from their bedroom, which really isn't cool. So, if you just type in vlogs in LinkedIn, you'll see a number of them come up, and some may humor you, and some may shock you, and some may impress you. So, there's a lot of millennials out there, and they're using LinkedIn, but they may not be using it properly. So they need our guidance in the beginning with this. How to and list posts perform the best on LinkedIn. So if you provide a how-to article out on LinkedIn, you'll get many likes. And many times, once someone likes it, you'll end up connecting with others who have the same interests. There are also groups in LinkedIn that you can join. So there's a Cisco group, there's a cybersecurity group, there's millions of groups. So when you do join LinkedIn, I suggest you join some of the groups because people will post information in those groups, and it's a great way to keep up to date with what's happening in technology, because it's very difficult for us to do that sometimes on our own. Any questions so far?
I do have one. Do you advise using LinkedIn for the portfolio, or is the portfolio something that should be separate from LinkedIn?
So this portfolio, the full portfolio should be separate from LinkedIn. Okay, it should really be separate because it's going to contain all of the students' work, and we don't want to put that out there for everyone. Okay, but students should be able to use LinkedIn to boast about the things they have in their portfolio. I guess the best way to explain it is, people on Facebook love to show you the food they cook, or the food they eat, or their puppies, or whatever. So on LinkedIn, show the great things that you've done in school. Like, wow, I just got my, finished my Net Plus training. Can't wait to go for my certification exam. Something like that would be a good thing to put out there. And that post will stay out there. And once they get their certification, then I would actually have them post their certification right on LinkedIn. So it would be available on LinkedIn and in their ePortfolio. So it should not be their entire ePortfolio, but they can put some things related to the ePortfolio on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Did that answer the...
She asked a follow-up question. So why would you not want, one second. Why would you not want the students to showcase their work on LinkedIn, especially if they have no related work experience. For example, if they built an e-commerce website and they were a web developer, should they not have that on LinkedIn?
Well, what I would put on LinkedIn is please message me if you would like to see some of my work, because it is their work, and what people will do is naturally they'll come in and they'll take their work. I mean, some students that have built websites, yes, they'll put a link to the website that you can go look at it. That's fine. But maybe students that have have done some programming, they might not want to put their program out there that they've written. So I don't suggest putting all of that on your LinkedIn profile. You can say you can put a link to the e-commerce website. You can tell them you've developed one, and then people will usually message you and say, "Oh, that's great. Will you can you show me where it is?" For example, on my LinkedIn site, I talk about this ePortfolios and LinkedIn workshop that I do, but I don't actually have all the materials out there. If someone contacts me, I will give them the materials after, some messaging back and forth, but I don't put all of that out there. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, so she said, so it's more of a privacy thing that makes sense, and to maybe describe it but not include it, like if you did the website, describe it but don't include it. And she did say thank you for clarifying. So yes, you answered her question.
Yes. And I do have, like my graphic design students, one of the things they'll do is they'll change their background picture to one of their designs. They'll keep changing it, so people will see that change, and then they can see their work. So it really is a privacy, and I don't know, like research papers or reflection papers, I don't know if you'd want to put that on LinkedIn for everyone to read. There's a lot of users out there, and there are scammers out there, and there are people that are going to steal your work. So you have to be careful, unfortunately. But yes, definitely. For students, I always tell them, if you're interested, I have an e-portfolio that you can view, and then I make sure that the students, that's a real employer that wants to see their e-portfolio, and they have a connection and things like that before they actually show them the e-portfolio. Okay, I found this information on College Info Geek, and this is a really nice website for your students that you can link them to when they're thinking about using LinkedIn. It's definitely, it's really a great website for them, and my students love it. So one of the things that they talk about is why do students really need to use this, and it helps them establish an online presence. So, what I say, it's a professional online presence. So, this way they're out there. Oh, this is a networking student that took classes at this university, and here's their social presence, and I can see their face, and I can see their.
Oh, it seems that she has dropped. We'll give her a second to get back on. Apologize. Yes, technology is our best friend. Luis, did you get back on?
Yes, I did.
Great.
I apologize. Okay, so here we are. I do apologize for that. I don't know what happened. I have do not disturb on. So students need to, everybody okay?
You're good.
Okay, good. So it helps them establish an online presence. It supplements or even replaces their resume. So on LinkedIn, they can actually put where they've worked, where they've gone to school, everything that they would put in their resume, they can put on LinkedIn. They can put letters of recommendation, they can put references, they can put various things. People don't really like if they put their references out there. People don't want all their personal information out there. Again, it's a privacy issue, so I would be careful with that. I wouldn't suggest they put references out there. And they can use it to apply for jobs. Many companies right now, you simply can apply for the job using your LinkedIn profile, and all the information is immediately sent to the employer. It's a wonderful, wonderful option. It allows them to research prospective employers. That's a good thing for them, and to see what's going on. And, they can find out what the employer is doing, what they're working on. It gives them more information so that when they go into the interview, they're not cold on the company that they're applying at. And it allows them to connect with alumni from their college. I think this is a really great thing for them to do. We have a community college, and we want to build that community. And it would be great for them to remain connected with the students, their students that they've been in class with. So I'm going to give you some survey results that I did a survey of employers regarding LinkedIn usage and ePortfolio. So I'm going to give you some of my survey results. I'm also going to give you some survey results that Mark did with your employers and the faculty in the College Convergence Network. So what should be included in the portfolios on the questions? 90% said their resume. 50% wanted samples of student work, volunteer work, cover letter, references, awards, and certificates. Now, this is in the portfolio, and I didn't specifically state an electronic portfolio. I just stated portfolio. 15% wanted transcripts. I found that really interesting because I thought only 15%. I would have thought more would have wanted to see the transcript. Willingness, what is their willingness to hire a student with a portfolio? 50% were more willing to hire. 16% said it doesn't matter. And 34% were unsure. Do they search social media for candidates? So I don't think you'll be surprised with this answer. Yes, 100% search social media. And I'm sure you all tell your students to be careful what they put out there. It can hurt them. And it can hurt or help them. Do they look for candidates on LinkedIn? 85% of the employers that I spoke to in my area that hire my students said yes, they look on LinkedIn. 15% said no. Where do they post their jobs? 85% post them on LinkedIn. 85% also post them on Indeed. And 85% post them on the company website. So I guess they cover all their bases. So your industry partner comments, 100% want portfolios. 60% of them preferred online, and 40% really didn't have a preference, but all of them wanted the students to have portfolios. What their portfolios should contain, 100% said they want the academic degrees and certifications in the portfolio. 80% said resume and awards. 50% said samples of student work. I found that a little unusual, but that is the response. And 60% wanted to see volunteer work. So volunteer work is very important to employers. It shows that students will go the extra mile to do something. I found that very interesting and also very, very, very nice. Willingness to hire a student with portfolio. 60% were more willing to hire. Where do they post their jobs? 50% of your industry partners that were surveyed post their jobs on LinkedIn. 70% put them on the company website. Any questions about the survey from your industry partners?
No questions at the time.
Okay, and Mark does have an example of the survey as well as the survey results, the full survey results, if anyone's interested. So I also wanted to know what your concerns were, because it's you, the faculty, that are going to implement this. So it's very important to know what your concerns are. Students will not hold up their end. Yes, that's true. Some will, some won't. We can do our best, but what I have found is in my 8 years of doing this, it's now become, the other day I heard the student say, well, my portfolio is all done, is yours? And I was just thrilled. So it takes time, but it does kick in, and the students do realize that it will help them to gain employment. Easy access during interviews for students. How easy is it to access? Well, if it's on Google, they just would share that information. I have my students ask the employer, would you like me to bring in a paper copy of my portfolio, or would you like to view it online? Most are saying online. Some still like paper. Just don't ever let them bring in a USB drive, because no one will let a student put a USB drive in their PC. Employers, do they really care about it or not? Well, I showed you the results, and yes, they do. They want 100% of your people want your students to have portfolios. Privacy. Students don't always want to post all of their information online. I think we covered this with the one question. Yes, privacy is definitely an issue, and we don't want them to post all of their information online. As a matter of fact, I tell my students not to put their address or phone number in anything on LinkedIn. They can put their email there, and people can connect with them using their email. Is it recommended to assign a specific grade percentage in the syllabus to grade student portfolio? You know, I kind of leave that up to the instructor. I just ask my instructors to make sure that all of the students have all of their work on the Google Drive. That's all I ask for. Now, if you have a capstone course, I would definitely say you should have a grade assigned to the portfolio because it is a capstone course. But we don't have a capstone course, so what we do is we just make sure the students put all of their work in the Google Drive, and then when they are in my systems analysis course, which is their last course in the degree, we create the portfolio in that course. And I just simply give them credit that they've done it. And that's about it. Grammar errors. We want to make sure all students are literate. Yes, students still tend to talk in text. So we hope that the English classes will help them with this. But it's very important to stress it. And my students are very adamant about putting their work through grammar checks and spell checks and things like that. So it's just something the good students are going to do well, and some of the students may not do so well. Are they useful for all areas? For instance, network administration. Yes. Most of my network administration students have found that's where they found their jobs, was on LinkedIn, and their e-portfolio would give examples of, they would have reflections, or they would put their assignments in their e-portfolio. And the employers really like that, because getting a grade from someone is one thing, but to actually be able to show your work, it's very important. And to see, when we look at work, we look for how thorough it is, how easy it is to read, how well it's done, is it consistent? All of those things are things that employers will look for too. Getting students to do the work and maintaining portfolios after the first draft. I think that's something that we'll always be challenged with. And once they find the importance, they will want to do it. More concerns, letting more IT students in my school know how important student portfolios are for them to get good jobs. Current companies want to see, but what you can do before they will hire you. Okay, so the comment here was that how do we get students to understand the importance, because definitely companies want to see your portfolio before they hire you. And my comment on that is to start it in the first semester. Just discuss it in the first semester and continue to discuss it in each class. And all it has to do is be a 5 to 10 minute discussion, talking about it. When they complete a project, say, don't forget, this has to go in your Google Drive so that we can, put it in your portfolio. And it just repetition, just continuous repetition about how important it is. A portfolio that does not relate to the position. Yes, that can be a problem. But because they're not putting their portfolio, because they decide who they want to share the portfolio with. If the portfolio is not relevant to the position, they don't have to share it with that person. And you can share different parts of your portfolio. You don't have to share all of it. So they can pick and choose what they want to share with the various employers. They will put them up and not go back to them to update. The individual will be a better candidate than the person that created the portfolio. That may be true. That's why we have an interview process. These are all valid concerns, and different students will do things different ways. I have a magnificent student in my class who just lacks some confidence, so his e-portfolio is a little weak. But I'm working with him, and you have a lot of strengths here. If you look at the personal branding exercise that I have out there, I think that if you do that exercise with your students, that will help them to gain some confidence and present themselves in the same way and at the same level that their portfolio is. Follow through among faculty, full-time and adjunct. I just ask my faculty to do it, and I don't make it a big deal. And because the assignments, they're doing all the assignments, the students are doing all the assignments themselves, and I simply ask the instructors to just make sure they have saved all their work and projects. I never have any problems with the faculty agreeing to do this. Privacy, identity theft issues, I think we've talked about that. They don't want it to be the main focus. It will not be the main focus. The e-portfolio is a product of their education. This shows everything that they have done while they have been in school. It's also great for your school. It's also a great way to have students notice what you're doing and have employers say, wow, they're really doing a great job over there in Tulsa Community College. Hi, Glenn. Wow, look at this portfolio. My gosh, look what these students are learning. That's a great school. I think I want to look at more students from that school. So the student portfolio can help employers want to hire more students from your school. And no, you don't need to make it the main focus, but it should be an end product of their 2-year degree at your school. And your number one concern was finding time. So that is a concern probably with everything that we're doing, and I'm hoping that when we go to the next part of this, when we go to the Google Drive and look at the assignments, you will find that they have been written in a way that the students can just do them on their own, and it won't take you any time to implement this. Any questions up to now?
Just one quick one, in the sake of time. Do you teach a separate class for digital portfolios, or do you integrate across classes?
No, the portfolio portion, developing the actual portfolio. So let me just clear this up. I have students put everything in their Google Drive throughout their 2 years. It is in the final class they take with me where they actually develop their portfolio. And it's very easy. They do it on their own. They're very happy about doing it because they already have all the information there. So, no, I don't have a separate class. I incorporate it into the last class they take in the degree, and it really doesn't take any time. It really doesn't take any time as long as the students have been saving their work in their Google Drive throughout their 2 years with you.
So would you suggest creating a specialized class for digital portfolios?
Do you know, I've always wanted to do, that's something that our school is looking at, actually, because they've worked so well. The school is looking at even like a 1-credit course, a capstone on career planning, e-portfolios, LinkedIn, all of that. Probably the biggest issue is finding the name for the class, right? But, yes, the school is thinking about actually creating a 1-credit course to do this so that we can do it right.
All right, great. So we'll hold the rest of the questions for the end. Just in the sake of time, we have 12 minutes left, and I know you have quite a bit to get through. Any questions we do not get answered, we will have Louise answer at the later, and we'll email all of her responses.
Yes. Oh, so I want to tell you where to, let me get, I had a few more things, so I'm going to rush over here, and I'm going to go here. The URL with all the assignments is tinyurl.com, and you can go to it now, /LinkedIn-ePortfolios. Was everyone able to get to that? Okay. So I'm not going to do the README first. So I've put different folders out here. Here's additional resources that you can, I have links to various websites and different information regarding portfolios, LinkedIn, resumes, interview questions, everything. This is a folder with all career planning assignments. I'm sorry, did they not get the URL where to go?
I just send it out to them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Let me go back to where I want to go. Okay. I also have a little retention folder here with some assignments that I've created. All these assignments are free for you to use. Just go right ahead and use them. Here's the presentation that we just went through, and there's some links in there. So let's go to the README first. So this README first, these assignments were designed as an easy way for students to develop a professional online presence, which is LinkedIn, an e-portfolio, and to gain employment. So the assignments what I did here was I actually listed the assignments based on which folder I put them in. So I also put in here when I suggest you introduce this to the students. So we have a step 1 assignment, which they set up their account. So they set up their Google Drive, and they set up a Gmail address that they're going to use for employment purposes and things like that. Very simple. Just, you hand it out to the students, and they'll do it. I have Twitter out there because there's still a lot of companies that use Twitter to search for candidates or post jobs. I don't know if you really need to do it, but it's there if you'd like to. Google Drive is really important because what they do is this is where they're going to store everything, all of their projects and assignments throughout their 2-year degree. Step 4 is LinkedIn, and that's really where they don't do LinkedIn until their capstone course or 2nd year of study because they're not ready to look for jobs until they're ready to graduate. And step 5 is Google Sites, which is the actual portfolio. So Google Drive is the repository for all of their information, LinkedIn is their social media presence, and Google Sites is what they are going to use to create the e-portfolio and link to the items they have in the Google Drive. I'll repeat that one more time just to clarify. Google Drive is going to just be a repository for all of their assignments and all of the work they have done. LinkedIn will be their social media presence that they're going to use to search for jobs, to connect with their colleagues, to boast about their skills, put their experience out there. And Google Sites will be the actual, what they will use to actually create a portfolio. So the students could actually just share areas of their Google Drive with employers if they wanted to, which some of my students do. And some of my students really get very involved with Google Sites. Some of them even use WordPress. So there's various ways to do this. What I did was I suggested when to do the assignments. And so how are we on time right now?
You have 6 minutes.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this assignment up, and let's just go to Google Drive, for example. Okay? So I have them create, as you can see, it's simply a drive. They already set up a Google account. They're going to create various folders: about me, references, letters of recommendation, certifications, awards, internships, projects. Now, some of my students put it based on, is it Java, is it database, is it networking? Some actually put it with the actual course number. I don't get really too hung up on that. Students in my curriculum seem to prefer to do it by class. It's just easier for them, by the course number and that. And then we change it later at the end, because the Google site doesn't have to actually link. No one will have to actually see that it's saved in a IT 101 folder. They'll just link to what's in that folder. So that's how we have that's how I have them set it up. I have them any workshops, conferences, any volunteer work, any professional memberships, things such as that. So that's an assignment that they just do. And that's how they set up their Google Drive, and it's no big deal. It's just like File Explorer, except it's on Google. So then we have LinkedIn, and so here's how to create their LinkedIn document. And what I do is I want to bring your attention to number 8. They will spend countless hours deciding what their summary should say about them. And it's really actually kind of, it's interesting to watch, because sometimes it's very difficult to talk about ourselves. But this is the LinkedIn. And as you can see, there's nothing that you really have to do. If anything, I walk around the room and I say to the students, can I see your LinkedIn profile? And they'll show it to me. And the other students will actually look at their portfolios, and I have them work together in teams. I have them ask, other people, what do you think about this, my LinkedIn presence? What do you think? And I have a lot of, in the other resources, I have a lot of information for them to go, and I show them LinkedIn profiles that I think work really well. And there's some tips and tricks in there. Let me get rid of this. Okay. Another one that I'd like to show you is the actual Google Sites. Okay, so in the Google Sites, it's simply a website that they're going to create, and they pick a theme, they pick a layout, they upload a picture of themselves, and they create pages. And they insert images, they embed codes or links to other websites and files from their Google Drive. So I know I went through this really fast, the assignments, but I think once you go through these assignments, you're going to see that there's really no extra work for you to do. It's really the students that are doing it. My suggestion is to simply state in your syllabus that one of the requirements of all of the courses is to have their projects, and you can specify the projects if you want, stored on their Google Drive, and that you'll just look at it and check it. I mean, just a simple check mark, but make it a requirement of the course. That is my suggestion. It's very easy to do. I don't go in there and check the assignments and check the projects. I mean, that would require a lot of work. Some students I do it with, and many times I do go back and look at them all, but I don't want you to feel that you have to do it, because the portfolio should really be the student's responsibility. It is their work, and it is how they're going to present themselves to employers. So I think I'm going to stop here because I don't have any more time. Any questions?
Okay, so we have a few questions, but they're kind of for me to answer. The presentation will be made available. You guys will actually have access to the link, and you will be getting an email from Louise personally. And it was recorded, and we will be posting the recording for you guys. There was a question for you. Do they have permission to share your work with colleagues?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I just asked that if you're going to share it exactly the way it is, just say, you know, this was done by Louise. So that's all. But sure, yes, absolutely. Why reinvent the wheel? Don't reinvent the wheel.
So we will ask one other question, your final question. What type of assignments are you looking for? We have students do canned labs and answer questions, take screenshots, etc. What do you suggest in that situation?
It depends really on the class. So what is important that they have done? Now, I use all OERs in my courses, right? So my students have to actually create, do these assignments, and they have to do a lot of research to find the information and things like that. So those assignments are very important because I'll ask them what they feel about this, what are advantages, what are disadvantages. They do a little research work. So whatever, as you go through in Cisco, okay, I'll give you an example, my A+, the A+ courses. We actually have pictures of the students taking apart their PCs. We actually have, and we'll put that in their portfolio. We'll have them talk about they talk about their grades. Some of them will do snapshots of their grades and the tests they take. It really depends on the class, and you'll find as you go along what you think is important and maybe what isn't so important. My systems analysis class, they do 5 projects. So those 5 projects are in their portfolio. They also do 10 assignments, but those assignments don't go in their portfolio, just the projects. So each class may be a little different. Screenshots are fine. Screenshots are fine. Whatever will prove that the student has the skills to do the job is what they should put in the portfolio. Did that answer the question?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Whatever proof you have. So, for example, I look at it from an accreditation standpoint. If somebody were to come in and say, how can you prove to me that your student is actually able to install software and modify this? Maybe a screenshot saying, look, this is what they did. So that's what you would want. They can do a screenshot of that and put that in their portfolio. So I look at it a little bit from an accreditation point as well as from showing it to the employer. But the important thing to realize is that you don't have to show everything to the employer. So some things I show to my accreditation body when they come in to evaluate me, and some things the students will just show to the employers. But it's all there for them. So even if the employer wanted to see that, it's already available. The student doesn't have to look for it. The biggest thing is to just get them to put the information out there, to get in the habit of storing it in the Google Drive. The
Right.
more the better. We can weed it out at the end. Let them put everything out there at this point. That's what I do. I say put everything out there. We'll figure it out later. And then it doesn't make it difficult for the students. They don't have to think, and the teachers don't have to think. And I have 3 teachers teaching the same class, and you look at one, the students' Google Drives, and one has, 50 assignments in there, and one has maybe 5, and one has 20. But that's what they've done and how the teacher has, and then we discuss it. We'll discuss it. Like, what do you think? Do you think this is too much, too little? What do you think? So I just say let them put everything out on their Google Drive, and when we get to the portfolios, we'll worry about how we're going to set it up then.
All right, great. Thank you, Louise. Just one quick last thing. You will be receiving an email from me right after this that has a survey in it, and it's part of our responsibilities to NSF. If you could take a few seconds and answer that survey for us, we greatly would appreciate it. It helps us show the impact of what we're doing. And with that, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Louise, for a wonderful webinar and such great information. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you very much. I apologize for the little glitch there. Mea culpa, mea culpa. So have a good day, everyone, and feel free to email me. And I hope you have access to this because everything you need is in here. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.